Hello, everybody. Cheers. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to this week's episode of Trades Lady Happy Hour. I am really excited tonight. We are going to be meeting a woman who I have not actually met yet, but she sounds like a ton of fun and is doing some really cool stuff. Her name is Robin Reneau, although she goes by the name Rob, and she is a mechanic and a shop owner in Georgia. She owns a shop called Georgia Auto Solutions, and we're going to be hearing all about her job, her business, her story, how she got to where she's at. So I'm really excited to meet her and hear all about her experiences and introduce her to you guys as well. For those of you who are new to Trades Lady Happy Hour and you're just tuning in for the first time, welcome. I appreciate you tuning in. This is the Instagram Live series that I've been doing for some time now that is designed really to just celebrate women in the trades. Women make up a relatively small percentage of trades folks, definitely of auto mechanics and other types of mechanics and technicians. And there's a ton of them out there. Percentages is small, but there's a lot of us out there. And this is about celebrating them, sharing their stories, helping the world to know how many cool ladies there are out there doing awesome stuff and showing them a little bit of love. So in just a few moments here, we will be joined by Rob. There she is. Hello.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I am wonderful. So excited. So excited to be here. Very nice
I'm so excited
speaking
to have
with
you
you,
here.
Phil. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I see you're still at the shop.
Yes, I just finished my wind down Wednesday. So every Wednesday I close at 5, and then from 5 to 8, ladies can come in and get discounted services.
Nice.
We have music, wine,
Nice.
refreshments. They can also get facials while they're here. Little girls can get
Awesome.
mani-pedi. So it's just a party on Wednesday evenings that we have. And so I'm, so
So you've already been drinking is what you're telling me.
just a little bit. I'm not a real drinker, so just a hard lemonade. That's it.
Hard lemonade tonight. All right. Well,
Yes.
cheers to that. And cheers to a really cool business idea. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Doing all that kind of fun stuff. I want to dig into your business a little bit, but first, can you just introduce yourself to the fine folks at home?
Sure. Hello, everyone. I am Robin Reneau, also known as Rob the Blonde Mechanic. I am the owner of Georgia Auto Solutions, which is an automotive repair shop located in Conyers, Georgia, about 20 minutes east of Atlanta. I'm a mom, an entrepreneur, mechanic, a newlywed. I'm still so excited, as you can tell.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So, but yeah, so that's who I am.
All right. In a nutshell, I love it. Beautiful. Lot to unpack there because you do a lot of different things. Being a mom, recently married, shop owner, mechanic. There's a ton of stuff for us to talk about and share with everybody, but I want to go back in time a little bit. Mm-hmm. How the heck did you end up doing what you're doing now? What's your story? How did this all come to be?
Well, I've always, like friends would say, I've always liked manly jobs and manly stuff. And, so I've been like a girly girl, but still tomboyish. And so I've always had an interest in cars, but of course, never thought about pursuing it as a career of anything. I just always thought it was pretty cool. Okay. And then I kind of got forced into it just by my personality.
Tell me what that means.
Okay, so yeah, because originally, before I got into automotive, I was, into business and office management, that kind of thing.
Okay.
But I had bought so many cars. Like I had went through like 10 cars in 6 years. I just kept buying lemons and I kept getting ripped off. And there was so many problems. Like, I just want to learn enough to where I won't be taken advantage of. And then with that, it's actually, I was just like, I never wanted to be a master technician, but I wanted to make sure that I know if you're screwing me over or not, and how to do basic things. And just from that, wanting to learn and know, I actually just fell in love with automotive and it turned into a career. But originally it was just, you're not going to take my money, all right? You're not going to play me anymore, and so I just wanted to prove something to them, like, oh, I got one up on you, you're not going to get me. And then it just turned into a lifelong passion.
I love it. How long ago was that you started going down that path?
So it's been almost 18 years.
Oh wow. Okay.
Um, yeah, I would say I got really, I wouldn't say serious, but got more of a skill set. Like, so really like the past 15 years.
Okay.
And then like the past 8 years, it just really just,
Nice.
and I think that's really because I went back to school, for automotive and, got a little more experience and now I can demand more and make more and, do more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really the past decade has just been like skyrocketing in my career.
That's awesome.
But I've been at it for a while. I look young, but I'm not that young.
Looks
People
can
are
be
really
deceiving sometimes, right? We got good genes, right? I tell people how old I am.
Yeah.
They're like, no, you're not. Like, yeah, no, I'm old.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. So before you went to school, were you working professionally as a mechanic then and just kind of learning out in the field? Is that
Yeah, well, I when I started in the automotive world, then I wanted to just be a technician. So it was like really at a place in my life where, hey, if you're going to do this, like this is it. And I was like, I really want to do this and pursue it. So it was like giving up my, you know, cushy little office job and starting over. And so when you start brand new with no experience, then you're making like minimum wage.
Yep.
Then it was like, oh, well, we want you in the front. You can answer phones. You have, phone etiquette and blah, 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 blah. And so it's really just kind of like service advising. And then I can kind of watch the guides and pick up some things. It was a while before I can even get to a point where I can change oil. And then once I got into the pit, then it's like, okay, well, that's it. I can't graduate out of the pit until actually I went back, to school, and then I can have some because I knew more and I was learning, but I just, without something showing what then they just wouldn't even open the door to even let me, it was a fight to do brakes. I'm like, seriously? That's like mechanics 101. Why are we fighting for this?
Yeah.
But yeah, for a while it was just like low end, basic oil change, do some flushes and that's it. That's all I'm ever going to be good at.
Yeah. I want to talk about that for a little bit because I feel like this is something that a lot of the folks viewing or some of the folks viewing and just people in general, like they don't necessarily understand the challenges that women face coming into the industry. And you just kind of like, that's the story I hear all the time, right? Like I want to break into the industry. Nobody wants to give me a chance. And then when you do get a shop that's willing to give you a chance, they want to make you a service advisor or put you on phones. Was that something you were hearing repeatedly from shops?
Always. Even when I would go in for an interview, and they were just like, so you want to be an advisor? And I'm like, no, I want to be like, no, just didn't even take me serious at all. And I'm like, well, just ask me a question. I was like, hey, let's go in the shop. Let's go through a car. Like, I want to show you. I was like, hey, I will even come in, and volunteer for a week. I want to prove myself. And it was just like, no, you got a cute face, you got a good personality. We're going to put you in the front. And so that kind of shifted my career because I was getting forced in the front so much. It's like I still have to make money because I have a family to feed. Sure. And so that's when I was like, okay, well, let me go into advising. And then from there, it kind of led into, being a service manager and taking that management route. But still, when I can, get in and on the side jobs and things like that, still turning wrenches. But for a while, I was just forced out of the shop, and it was like, keep fighting and not making any money, or make the money and, feed my family.
Right. And it's so crazy to me because I feel like I hear from shop owners all the time that they can't find technicians. And then when they've got women knocking at their door saying, please give me a chance, they're being told no, they're being put in the front office. Or, like you said, once you finally got out there, they're like, all right, so you can change oil. That's it. Like, we're just going to keep you at that level. Or I hear women talk about getting hired finally as like a valet at the dealership. And then being told that that's their foot in the door to go be a mechanic. And then they never get graduated from being in the valet. It's like, excuse me, it's so frustrating.
It is. And I think that's what took me so long. People are like, man, I've been in automotive for a very, very long time. And it's just not something that you just jump in and, because you're skilled and you're just going to rise to the top and make money. It was like literally a fight, just to get the respect, as a technician. And really, it's just like I just demanded it. And so by me moving up, then I was able to kind of force myself, because if I'm a service manager, well, then now I get to work on cars. You can't say anything about it. All right. So, so it's like just doing, little tricks like that to, stay relevant as a mechanic and keep my skills up, because, technology is always changing and things like that. Or, I would sign up, they would have, free classes, and they send a text. I'm like, okay, well, of course I can't go. All right. Either whether I'm a tech or I'm not, I can't go. I'm a woman. That's not a woman's thing. But then I'll say, okay, well, let me go. So then that way, when we come back, I can make sure the guys know what he's doing. I can, give them quizzes. And I just flipped it in a way that, the company is thinking like, this is great because I'm going to take notes and see what the guys really know, but I'm going, to learn myself. So there was a lot of manipulation going on to get where I need to get.
We're going to call that creativity, not manipulation.
Creativity. But, you just got to, you got to do what you got to do. And I was just like, at the end of the day, I know one day I'm going to get that break. And I'm just going to keep at it. I love what I do. But I mean, so it can just be so frustrating at times just to, like I said, get that respect.
Yeah. Well, and your passion for it and your love for it is very obvious. You're like pumped up, and I love it. How did you keep the energy going through all of this? I mean, you pushed your way in. You were pushed into the office. They didn't want you to be there. You worked your way up, and you still kept that vision that you were going to be out in the shop one day. How did you keep that going when everything was telling you no and you're not allowed and you don't belong? Like, how did you keep that strength going?
Well, for me, I like a challenge. And so no, I'm going to find a way to turn that no into a yes. And then I just really felt like deep down inside, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I feel like when you have such a command on your life, like this is it, then I felt the doors will open, and I'm just going to keep trying. And so even, if it's a job where I feel like it's not going anywhere, I'm not getting, I said, every job for me is like an assignment. And so I may not get the position that I want or the respect that I want, but it's something that I can learn from there. So whether it's dealing with different personalities or learning a different skill or learning a different software, everything has a purpose. And I just really focus on that. And focusing on that, then it's like, I don't really look at all the negatives and all the doors I was closing. Like, okay, well, this didn't work out, but what can I take from it? What can I put in my arsenal of weapons for the next time, I have to come, deal with this again or get to the next level. And so like, it just falls back onto me just not taking no for an answer. If this door closed, I'm gonna keep knocking, because I know that this is what, there's nothing else and I've tried to leave automotive, I have, but it just sucks me back in. Like there's nothing that makes me feel more comfortable and more happy than automotive. And so that's what the big push is too, was to try to, eventually get my shop so I can do it the way I want to do it. But, this is, I'm Rob the Blonde Mechanic. That's who I am, right. That's what I live, breathe, and I absolutely love it. So it's just the passion behind it, and just, I'm not going to take no for an answer.
I love that. And I love what you said at the beginning, like when you have such a strong, commandment of what you want in your life, when you're so convicted, the doors will open. Like that is such a great mindset to have. And now you do have your shop, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more, but I got to know, were you always this headstrong and sassy and I'm gonna go out and get it and make it happen no matter what? Or was this something you learned later in life?
No, it's always been there. I am my mother's child. And I grew up in New York. There's a school of hard knocks.
Where in New York?
Brooklyn.
I used to live in Brooklyn. Where in Brooklyn?
Get out of here. Get out of here. Carroll Gardens.
Where?
Carroll Gardens.
Oh, okay. Nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
I lived in Fort Greene before it became cool.
Okay. Well, yeah, my mom did too. So, wow. All right. But all my adult life, I've been down here in Atlanta.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's got the street edge in me, and then it's smoothed out by the Southern hospitality. But it's always, when you grow up in New York, you just got that hustle, go get it mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just always, always been in me.
Nice.
And I think over time, you just get more confident with the more skills I have. So in the beginning, it was just, but now, I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm doing. You can't tell me. I'm like, I feel really, really more confident now than I did, 10, 15, 20 years ago, just as an individual. And I guess that comes with maturity and age and that kind of thing too. So, I'm definitely not the same person, timid and, kind of, now I'm just like, hey, this is what we're doing,
I love it.
And I guess, I've been around men for so long, sometimes I have that male, alpha male energy, just, so try to balance it on out.
Alpha male New York energy in a Southern girl wrapped up.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, because people say, like, you don't sound like you're from New York. I'm like, wait till I get mad. When I get mad, you're like, man, are you Puerto Rican? You're from Brooklyn? Like, all kind of accents just come out. So you definitely know who you're dealing with when you get me upset. But other than that, I guess you can say I'm a, Georgia Peach Southern Belle,
That's awesome. I can totally relate to that. I don't sound like a New Yorker until you get me pissed off, and then
Yep.
I feel you. So, all right. So you were interested in cars always. You started learning about them because you didn't want to feel taken advantage of. Was there a point in this, in this journey to learn more about cars where, can you remember a single point or something where you were like, yes, this is it. This is what I want to do?
Well, for me, it was the small wins and the small successes. And so for me, it was like when I was able to do a brake job by myself, then I was just like, or if I learned, then that was like a big moment for me. People don't realize, because you just don't wake up and you work on cars.
Right.
And so even though that's basic, 101, but there's a lot of people that can't do it if you've never done it before. That's something that's challenging. So for me, I was like, oh man, I felt so accomplished, and I was like, oh, this is great. And just that high from being able to complete that simple brake job by myself, I was like, oh yeah, I can do this now. I got this. And I get that way for every single thing. If if a car comes in, I'm able to diagnose it now, and it's like, so what? And it's like, I just get so excited, and just when I'm able to, complete it and do it by myself, because for so long I've always had to have a partner and somebody sign off on my work and somebody watch me. So to do it by myself and just, kill it, I'm like, yeah. So yeah, I started with the basics and just independent work, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, this is what I want to do.
I love that. So when did you went to school? When you said 10 years ago, something like that?
When did I come out? Yeah, it's been 10 years. Yeah, wow, yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. No, I'm like, wait, how long has it? Yeah, I'm starting to feel old now. Yeah.
We won't tell you about it. No, you look fantastic. So no.
Thank you.
Did you go to like a community college? Did you go to one of the tech schools?
I did. So I went to DeKalb Technical College, which is Georgia Piedmont Technical College now.
Okay.
So I went there for automotive technology.
How long of a program was it?
So the degree was for 2 years, or you could get a diploma for 18 months. So I started a diploma and then switched over to a degree. Okay. So it was a 2-year program, and it was probably like the best 2 years. I just learned so much.
That's what I was going to ask you. Like, is school worth it? Right? I get that question all the time. Is it
absolutely
to go to school?
People ask that, like, I don't see what's the point. Yeah, it is, because for me, it's learning the fundamentals of automotive. And you'll probably, can relate to this. You have a lot of people that can change parts, but they don't understand systems or how they work. So school is going to give you that foundation that you need so you'll understand how the system should function, so you'll know when there is a problem, how to fix it, not just, okay, if it's overheating, oh, got to be a thermostat. Oh, got to be, just throwing parts at things. So for me, it was just understanding automotive principles, and it was extremely important. Because even when you're in the shop and you're doing training, if you don't understand how, the charging system work, you can change your alternator all day, but you're just going to be throwing parts, and you get familiar with parts and replacing parts and not being able to move further in your career and do diagnostics. So it's extremely important. So people think that's not important. It is extremely important. I can't stress that enough.
You didn't go straight into owning your own business. You went to school, and
Nope.
then you were still trying to find work and work in the field. Did you find it easier? Did people take you more seriously once you had
Nope.
that degree?
I thought they were, and I was like, this piece of paper right here. And they were just like, who cares, lady? And so, no, it didn't give me that push that I thought it was going to have. And I'm just being honest, it really didn't.
No, please,
But
I appreciate the honesty. Please be brutally honest.
for me, and that's what I was thinking, like, if I just go to school and I can just prove and I can show someone,
Right.
and it was just like, no, nobody really cared. And so the difference was when I graduated, right? Then I was able to actually go and apply for like the big box retail stores.
Okay.
And so a few of them actually look, oh, okay, well, that stands. I would get the interview because I had the technology degree. And then once I get here, it's like, oh, I'm just like, okay, here we go again. HR wants some diversity, and we have, this old school, district manager over here. But so it was still a fight, but it did, I would say, on my resume, open the door for a conversation, but it just wasn't like I thought it was going to be.
Right. So it's still a struggle, but at least got your foot, in theory, in the door a little bit. Who did you wind up working for after school for the first time?
So after school, I went to National Tire and Battery, NTB.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with them.
I've heard.
I think they were bought out by Mavis, and they had it was NTB, Big O Tires, Tire Kingdom, like 2,000 locations nationwide. So I got accepted into their manager and training program, and I was like, okay, this is not a tech, but it's a foot in the door. I'll take it. And so with the MIT program, went through it for 4 months. It's like, okay, if you successfully complete it, you'll get a store. And there was maybe like 20 of us. I went into the program. Everyone was not going to get a store. We knew that. And so I was the only female, as usual. Went through the program, and I did extremely well. My sales were well. I was just killing it. All right. I was like so confident, like, yes, I'm going to get a store. Went through the program, and everyone's getting picked. I did not get a store. Heartbroken, but they kept me on. So they kept me on for like another 6 weeks. And then the HR director flew in, and I never forget, he flew in and he was like, hey, why are you still here? And I was like, they didn't give me a store. He said, what do you mean they didn't give you a store? I was like, well, they didn't give me a store. They just said they're going to try to find a place for me. And so make a long story short, I didn't get the store. I didn't get the store not because I didn't qualify, but as you can imagine, being in automotive, you have some perverted managers. They had a district manager that was under investigation for sexual harassing women. And I didn't know. So he had, and so he would make little comments and say, look, but I just didn't catch it. Because if you don't come out direct, just because someone tells you, you look good or you're beautiful, that doesn't mean that they're necessarily trying to sleep with you. But it was some instances where it was just inappropriate. But I was just like, is he being inappropriate, or I'm just, he's kind of sleazy. But he ended up being fired because he was, sleeping with the female employee. Basically, people were sleeping their way to his house. And because I didn't get the store. And I was like, oh, okay. So, that whole thing, it went down. So they ended up making me a service manager at a store. So I became a service manager.
You're still getting pushed into service on the front of house.
Always,
things.
always. It's like, well, you do have a mechanical background, but we're going to make you a service manager. Sorry, no hard feelings. I'm like, look, I just want to work. I thought he was sleazy and creepy, but whatever. I just want to work. And so I went on to become a service manager, and then I had to fight to get a store because I was crushing it. And it's like, man, my numbers are always looking good, but it's always something. And so I had a great HR director. As I said, like usually the HR people are more open and well-rounded and diverse. And it's managers that are just, so even I went to the MIT program and I met a lot of district managers and they all loved me. But when I came to this individual's district, it was just like, there was no more love. There was no more smiles. There was this show me his true colors where he just didn't like a woman in his, in this district. So dealing with that, I had to fight. But ultimately, the numbers don't lie, sales don't lie. And so they had to end up giving me a store because the HR director was on my side. He's just thinking like, this is ridiculous. Like, she's, killing it. So, but yeah, so that's how I became a store manager. Did that for a couple of years. I didn't really care for that company. I just kept dealing with just knucklehead managers. So I just had to get out of that environment. But I said, you always take, what you can, learn from it. And then, I went over into Firestone, store manager there for a while. Okay. Worked with Goodyear, district manager for a while. Did that.
They're always in manager positions, which is awesome because they pay well, I assume, right? Mm-hmm. But never being given the opportunity to do the work on the cars.
No. Like I said, only time I get if I'm doing training exercises or, I try to force my way back into the shop. But it was never just like, okay, you want to be in the shop. And then it got to a point where I was just like, hey, I really want to be a mechanic. How about I don't need to be a store manager? You can just bust me down to a mechanic. I get tech pay. I'm good with that. And they're like, absolutely not, you crazy. Like, you're a phenomenal manager. We're not doing that. There's no,
just because I'm good at it doesn't mean it's what I want to do.
So it was just like being told like straight up, it's not going to happen. So I'm just like, oh my gosh. And then, again, it's being faced with, I need a job. I got a family, we have to survive. So what do? I'm going to take what you're going to give me, but, I'm still going to do my own thing. And, I'll still be in the back and like, hey, you're a manager. You shouldn't be working on cars. I'm like, well, I got to get this car out of here. Which way?
So you go and work on him anyway.
Yeah, I would force it until, they would, come in, and then it's like they all come in, they're flying to town and, hey, we just want to talk. And I'm like, hey, is my store performing? Yeah. Are we like in the top 3 of the district? Yes. Okay. Are my sales killed? I'm hitting my bones. I'm hitting my numbers. Goodbye. So I went from that extreme to the extreme of being fashionable, and they would talk about, wearing pink. And I had a manager tell me one time, you have on lipstick, you're not Beyonce. What do you think this is? It's not,
What?
So yeah,
because you were wearing lipstick?
Yeah. So yeah.
I'm speechless. Oh my God.
Oh yeah. It's been the things I've heard. I've had jackets say, your jacket is too nice. You're gonna, I had a manager tell me one time, and he said, you look like you're out of a Winter Wonderland magazine. Seriously, you're not trying to work. And I was like, okay. He's like, the sparkles, the bling. He's like, it's too much. We're not doing that. I'm like, but what does that have to do? I was like, I'm not violating any dress code. I read the handbook, sir. But, so it's.
And that was in the office. They were saying this.
Oh, yeah.
So fascinating.
Yeah.
The double standards and the it's like we can't win for losing sometimes. If you dress too masculine, then you're trying to be a guy. And if you dress too feminine, then you don't belong here. You don't deserve to be here. You're being too whatever. Like there's no.
Oh, and I'm distracting too. So I'm distracting to the guys.
Right.
Stay out of the shop. Don't wear pink. So, I've heard it all, and I'm just continue to just be me, and just, like I said, as long as I'm performing, I'm productive, I'm making the company. But there's so much that, you can say, ultimately I'm going to do what I want to do, and you just have to deal with it. So,
So were
unfortunately, that's the
you,
way it is.
first of all, can we like bottle some of this sass of yours and like sell it on the market? Because I feel like there's a lot of folks out there who could use this, like this just inner confidence and like courage that you have to just not let any of it stop you. And I love that, even though you were being told no in every direction, in every way possible, that you just kept finding your way of like, nope, I'm gonna get in there. I'm gonna keep trying different ways. Like everybody needs more of that in their lives. We got to bottle this thing.
I would say I would credit that too. So when I was in automotive school, my instructor was like the first female I had seen in automotive. Like I've never seen a tech before. I'm sorry.
You had a female instructor?
Yeah, Andrea Stroman.
Oh,
Yes. Yes,
awesome.
that's my girl. And so I drew a lot from her as far as being who you are, because she came in there and that little feisty fireball. She was not taking any mess, sweet as can be, but she was not taking any mess. She had colorful hair, and she was just herself. And that was the first time I had seen a woman, and then like now, you try to go online, you try to find, women mechanics, everything. And, that she was the first one I seen that was just herself and that was just authentic. And I was like, man, I'm going to be like her. All right. And, she just has so much personality. I was like, okay, well, it's okay. That taught me it's okay to be myself. Because like when you said in the beginning, you think that you have to, kind of be masculine and kind of, be one of the guys and all, and I'm just like, man, I like to wear skinny jeans, I'm like, I like to wear heels. I like to be girly, and I don't want to hide that. And when I seen that, I was like, oh yeah. That's all I need to see. The world of automotive will never be the same again when they see me walk through the door.
And it's such an important point too, like the power of seeing another woman doing that work and why that mattered so much, right?
Right. And, and that's why I try to, be encouraging to women now that's trying to come in. It's very, very few. Very few. I think I've maybe actually seen 2 female technicians in all of these years, in 2 female technicians.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Even going to the schools now, you're just not seeing, well, automotive altogether, you're just not seeing the numbers like we used to see. And especially not seeing the women. But, I'm just always up for empowering women in anything that they decide to do. And just be yourself.
So were you still working for them when you decided to start your own business, or was there another step in between?
Yeah. So I went from the retail side of automotive to the reconditioning side. And so, yes, I became a reconditioning manager. I started working for, the dealerships and, you flip the cars and getting ready to send them out, to dealerships so they can be sold. And I always say you got to take something. Everything is a teaching tool. And so one of the things I wanted to do besides open up a shop, because I would sell cars on the side, I don't want the IRS coming after me, but not right. Like I don't want to say too much like she did. Well, let's check her tax record. She didn't claim that money, but no. But I wanted to sell cars. And so if you want to be successful with it, I feel like you have to educate yourself. And I felt like I knew a lot about business, all of my experience in management and business acumen, finances, operations. I got that down. Mechanical, I got that down. But let me shift because I want to know more about the used car process. Where are they buying their cars from? Who are their vendors? How are they fixing the cars? What are they doing to sell them and that kind of thing. And so that's why I went over into reconditioning. I'm very strategic in what I do. And so I just got that tab of the information. And then I was like, okay, I feel like now I have enough education and I have enough training and experience to go out there and do my own thing. And so it was doing that. And then I was doing the recon thing, and then COVID hit. And when COVID hit, then of course the dealerships, everything closed down. So it's like, you're out of a job. What are you going to do? And I was like, man, I got a toolbox. I'm ready, you know. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to be Rob the Blonde Mechanic, and I'm going to do mobile, you know, mechanic services, you know. And I just felt like I was going to make a lot of money, be fabulous. And then when the economy opened back up, yeah.
What are your goals for this year? Make a lot of money and be fabulous.
That's it. It's like, seriously, I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Watch me. And then, you know, go back and, you know, get another, get another job. I didn't feel like, because I had tried so many times and so many doors I opened when I was trying to get a shop. And it's very difficult to get a shop when you don't have, you know, good credit, you don't have a lot of money. And then my, business, you know, legally it had just started, so I hadn't been in business long enough to try to get a loan and blah 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 blah. So I just figured, you know, I would just work and get some money, and then maybe another year from now, you know, look at getting the shop. But when I jumped out there, it just took off, and I mean, I was like, man, I manifested I was going to be fabulous and make money, and that's what I'm doing. You know, so I mean, it was just a great journey. I'm like, this is amazing. I should have did this years ago. Okay, so now I'm ready. And then, you know, like I said, when it's right, the opportunities come. The opportunity came with this fabulous shop that I have now, and you know, the money was right, and just jumped on in there.
Let me ask you a question. Do you feel like all of those jobs that maybe weren't the ones that you wanted, but that you got funneled into because you're a woman and they didn't want you out in the shop, are you grateful for those now in a sense? Like, did they prepare you for having your own business?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why I say you have to take, every experience and grow from it and learn from it. And so I may not have, especially, because not everyone, a lot of people just I want to be a business owner, right? And they're pushing, leave the corporate plantation, start your own business. And I see that a lot, and people don't realize the education that's needed. So for me, I was just, very fortunate to receive a, A1 business education for free by all of these companies. So, looking at it now, for me to be a business owner, then yeah, definitely paid off. It was growing pains. I didn't like it. I didn't want it, but it was necessary for me to be where I'm at now and to be making the moves that I want to make. So definitely, I'm grateful for the people that kept me out of the shop. Thank you. Cheers. The ones that kept me in the shop. Thank you. Cheers. It's all good now.
It's such a fantastic attitude. Sometimes the best mentors that we have are the ones who aren't necessarily even trying to be mentors, right? Like, we learn the most from folks, even when they're not trying to help us.
Yeah.
You learned a ton from their not wanting to let you in. You were able to be where you're at now, creating your own space and making it happen in a way that you probably wouldn't have been able to, or would have taken much longer to do had you not had that experience. So that's awesome. Cheers to that. I love it. Thanks to the folks who didn't want me to do it. Look at me now.
That's right. Or they're giving me, hey, stay later and put up these, 200 tires you just got off the truck. And, I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to do it, but now I'm learning inventory management. So that's another skill. Check. Thank you. So that's how I just look at everything that was thrown my way. So it just worked out for the better.
I think that's awesome. And I think it's the stuff that people don't think about when starting their own business, like all of those other pieces of the puzzle. Like, knowing how to fix cars is all well and good.
Yeah.
Do you know how to do the rest of it? Can you run a business effectively? Can you talk to the customers? Can you write up a repair order? Can you?
It's a different kind of beast that people don't think they really understand the challenges that come with it. So it's definitely not something that, no, I'm just going to go and do it. And you definitely have to, educate yourself and prepare for it. So, It's been a long journey, but I had to go through it to get to where I'm at, and I don't have $200,000 in debt by having an MBA. So hey, it took me longer than 4 years, but hey, I'm not paying all that money back to the government, so I'm great.
There you go. All right, so let's talk about the starting of the business. You started out doing mobile mechanic,
Yes.
and just kind of worked your way up from there. How long were you mobile mechanicking before you got your shop?
Okay, so crazy enough, I was not a mobile mechanic for that long. So we're looking at April of what, 2020?
Okay.
And then I got the shop keys February of 2021. So about 10 months,
Wow.
I was able to grow. And like I said, it was really the financial part, because opening up a shop is expensive, lifts are expensive, software, everything. So it was really just working and saving. And I didn't expect it. I expected to maybe in a whole nother year, like an 18-month plan. I said I would definitely have enough money saved to the bank, so they have to give it to me. I've had my business open, for 2 years. I got enough money. Boom. I did not expect it to happen in 10 months.
It doesn't surprise me at all with your sass and with your commitment to this. That doesn't shock me at all. For someone wanting to start a business, do you recommend that as a good path, like starting out doing mobile and then moving into a space?
I would say if you want to start your own business, whether it's, at a shop or doing mobile, you definitely want to have the skills. And then you definitely want to have that business backing and information. So if you can switch and start learning and spending time, with a business owner or with the, store manager, general manager, learning, operations, procedures, P&L, income statements, that kind of thing is important. So I would say get your fundamentals in business down pat first, because turning a wrench, that's just a small part of owning a shop. It really is. There's so much more into it. So get the business backing first, and then go out and do your thing. But just don't jump out there and you've never
Right.
Been in any type of leadership. You've never been a shift lead, line lead, I wouldn't recommend it, because
if you don't know what P&L is, you should know what your business yet.
Right. You got to understand profits and margins, so it's a lot from the, on the back end. Even when it comes to, vendors and setting up, your net 30s and those kind of things, and people are like, what is that? How, all of that plays a part with cash flow. So have a good understanding of business before you jump out there.
Amen to that. Absolutely. Can we preach that off the rooftops? They say that, I don't know, 95% of all businesses fail within the first 5 years. And I think it's because of that, right? People getting into being a business owner with having no idea what's involved, what it's all going to look like. And then they get in it and they're drowning. And it's unfortunate because, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's a lot of time and energy invested in that. So you got your keys a year after you went mobile. Tell me about this shop now, because it's a new business pretty much, right? It's been a year-ish, right?
Almost, yeah. Coming up on a year, yeah.
Woo-hoo. Very exciting. So tell me about your business.
Okay. So, all right. So I wanted to open up this shop, and it's going to be fabulous because I'm going to cater to women, because women are fabulous and we're awesome, and we need to be treated with so much more respect, right? We carry the money, we hold the money, we make all the purchasing decisions, we got the buying power, but we're not respected. This shop is going to be completely different. And so one of the things I do, I do a whole lot of things. It's a whole lot going on. But to break it really down, what differentiate my business from other businesses is, one, I believe in show and tell and not just sell. So every car that comes in there, I give a thorough understanding. Okay, let me show you, what's going on with your car, and not just try to, take your money. Let me give you a plan. Okay, hey, you need to take care of this now. This can wait maybe about 6 months, so that way you just break it down into chunks. Put everyone on a maintenance plan so they know how to maintain their vehicle. I teach classes. So for women, well, it's for women and teens. I haven't had any men. But I mean, if a man wanted to come, I guess I can let a man in. But for
I don't.
women and new drivers, so they can get familiar with their vehicle. So we take their vehicle, bring it in, and it's a class that's on everything from how to, jump the car off, to finding the lift points, to changing tires, but just go through the car so they're familiar with the basics of the car. I also have Wind Down Wednesday, which I was telling you about in the beginning. So my waiting area is fantastic. We got the typical refreshments, but then I have an electric foot massager, which so when you come in, you can get the foot massage. It's amazing. I have a full body massage chair. So if you just want to sit back and relax, I always have Moscato here. So if you wanted to sip a little and relax, you can do that. There's no additional charge for that when you come in. But I just want you to feel relaxed and feel comfortable, and just take a load off. So
that's your sales technique, huh? Get them wined and dined and relaxed, and then they just say yes to everything, right?
Oh man. But so I do have also my glam studios, right? So catering to women again.
What is glam studios?
Yeah, so you can get glammed up while you're tuned up. So I'm not, into
I love you. Oh my God, that's fantastic.
Yeah, because I have this huge space. And then I felt like this was just like divine for me to have this shop, because there's so many things I wanted to do and I have the space to do it. So the Glam Studios, I have one lady that she has a little girl spa. And so little girls can come in and get the manis, the petties, and little girl, little makeup and little girly tattoos. So your little girl can feel like a princess while she's here waiting while you get your car service. And then for you can get your lashes done, you can get a brow tint, you can get facials. And then I'm working out a deal now. So in late spring, early summer, I will have a nail tech here so you can get your nails done. So all this is while you're waiting. Then you can get all of these services done.
Nice.
So that's my Glam Studios. I do a lot.
Pretty big space. Is it a huge space that you can do all of that?
It is a huge space. So I have like 9 offices, 4 bathrooms, a kitchen. The shop space itself is like 4,500 square feet, so it's massive.
Nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Yeah, that's phenomenal, especially first year of business, to be in a space that huge. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying, like, because which is crazy, because the spaces I was getting turned down for were just like literally like a small 3-bay, smaller, tight, cramped waiting area.
Yeah.
And they were turning. So I was like, man, when this space opened up and came available, when the landlord had called me and was like, hey, I remember you came over a year ago and I turned you down because you had just opened your business. Are you still interested? And I'm like,
yeah.
I'm still interested, of course. But yeah, so it's geared to, but the business is geared to, men are always welcome. I do have male technicians that work here.
Okay.
But it's really geared to just, servicing women, informing them, educating, empowering them while they're here. And, yeah, it's great. I love it. Are your
customers mostly or entirely women, or do you have male customers as well?
I have a really good mix. I have a lot of male customers, surprisingly, and they're kind of like, hey, yeah, I seen your video, and it's like, oh, okay, well, come on in.
Right.
So I have a lot more male customers than I thought, but it's probably like a 60-40, like 60% women, 40% male, so it's a good mix.
Yeah. That's what I found at my shop too. I thought I was going to have all female customers when I opened my shop way back in the day, and I was surprised at how many men wanted to come to my shop. Have you Have you had any of your male customers tell you why they picked your shop versus any of the other shops they could go to?
No, well, a lot of my customers are just coming off of Facebook, which has been a huge success. And I don't even post that much. But when I do post, it just gets shared a lot. And so they'll come like, hey, I seen you, it seems like you know what you're talking about in your videos. So that's why, I came and I seen, you got some good reviews on Google. So they do their homework. They let me know they do their homework, but a lot of times they say they have watched watch my videos, and I seem to know what I'm doing. So they want to give me a shot. I was like, oh, I'll take that. Thank you.
Awesome. Now, how many techs do you have working?
3.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a nice size little shop. So are you service advising, or do you have a service advisor as well?
I do have an advisor, but I do everything. So
Of course.
because I like building the relationships. I love building the relationships. And so my customers, I feel like they're extended family. So everyone that comes to them, I like to talk to them and, get to know them. It's kind of a good thing and a bad thing, because like in the beginning, it was great, but now because I'm, growing, the business is growing, I can't be so accessible. And so in the beginning, like everyone had my cell phone number. Hey, just call me. I get you right on in. Now I'm just like, put my phone on do not disturb. Like, hey, you just have to call the office, or, you can go online, make your appointment. Please don't call me. Because it's getting to be a point where it's a little bit overwhelming, but my personality, I'm a people person. I love my customers. So, it's trying to balance it out right now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an interesting transition. I remember going through that transition as well. Like you start out and it's just you and your customers, and then there's far too many customers for you to be that close to all of them. And it's a good problem to have, but it's an interesting transition.
Right. And how do you do it without, offending someone? And, so it's,
right.
I'm learning, but yeah, like you say, it's a good problem, but you just have to be very careful because some people are more sensitive.
Yeah. How are the guys that you work that work for you, I should say? Have you had any issues finding technicians? With that relationship of being the female shop owner to male technicians, has that been a challenge, or?
Well, just finding technicians in general has just been a challenge, because sometimes you'll find people have more ego than talent.
No,
and so
that never happens.
So it's having the actual skill set where I'm just like, wow, you'd be a valued team member. I'm like, wow, you're, not that fantastic as you think that you are, sir. But my current team, I've worked with them. So, they always say, like, when you have a good leader, then the people will follow them. And so everyone that, they've worked with me previously at different places, and I just kind of, come on over here, guys.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but finding new help, or someone who doesn't know, who hasn't worked for me, that's been quite a bit of a challenge. And then I had one person to work in the front, and she started on Monday, and I was robbed on a Thursday, and she quit on Friday. So yeah, that's been a challenge.
I think that's the hardest part about owning a business is people. It's finding people that you can trust. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's people you can trust, and then people who, just have some talent, skills, man. It's, I'm like, man, I had one guy who's like, oh, I've been doing this for 20 years. Okay, well, what have you done in 20 years? What have you gotten your certifications? Have you gone back, additional training? Nothing. I'm like, well, cars have changed in 20 years.
Right.
Like you have to stay, like you constantly have to invest in yourself, and it's finding people who have that kind of passion for automotive. That's been a challenge.
Absolutely.
But they're out there. Come see me.
There you go. If you're looking for a job and you're in the outside Atlanta area, go hit her.
Conyers, Georgia.
Relocate,
look me up.
Right?
Yes.
So we're getting really close to the end of our hour. I'd like to keep talking a little bit more, but I don't want to disrespect your time. Do you have a few moments to go a little bit over?
Sure. Yeah. We're good.
Okay, awesome. I there's so much to talk about with you. I can't believe that this hour has gone by already because I feel like we're barely scratching
I
the surface.
know.
So we're gonna have to talk some more after this. And I need to get you out to Phoenix. You're gonna have to be able to take some time off of work and come out to Phoenix and work with some other ladies out on this all-female build we're doing. But it
That
would
will
be
be
really
great.
awesome to meet you. But in real life, that is. Um, so somebody brought up in the comments, and I do want to talk about it. I don't know if you saw that comment scroll by, and it's beautiful to see women of color in this industry. So I do want to touch on this, if you're okay with it.
Sure.
Women are by far a minority in the industry, right? There's not a lot of women at all, and there's way less women of color in the industry. In your experience, which was worse, I guess, should I say? Which struggle was harder, dealing with racism within the industry or sexism within the industry? Or is it a combination
Um,
of both?
really, I think it's a double whammy for me. Like I'm getting
Yeah.
hit by all angles.
Yeah.
So it's really, I would say definitely have to be a combination. Because it's of course you are a woman and like a black woman. Oh, no,
Right.
and we just have to be honest. We're still in the South, and so as a country, we've come a long way, but sometimes I just really don't feel like we have come as far as people think that we have. And so it's definitely been a challenge being the woman, being a black woman, because I get hit with not only I'm a woman, but I'm a black woman, so I got to be angry and I got to be aggressive, or I have to be the stereotypical shenane and all this, or even I've had managers come and talk to me like, "Listen here, girlfriend." I'm like, "What are you doing? Like you've never." Where do you get that from? You've been watching A Living Color. Like, what are you doing? Like, come on, sir. And so just trying to just keep a level head and not get so offended, because if I would to speak out or get upset or for and sometimes it's just ignorance, like they just don't know that they're just ignorant, and then some are just being nasty. But at the end of the day, I just can't. I know now it's like the Me Too and people are cautious of what they're saying, but you got to think 15, 20 years ago, there was no, it's just some things I'm just going to let slide and some things I'm going to tell you about yourself. We're going to have this conversation because you're not going to talk to me crazy, But for the most part, it was just kind of trying to find that balance of, do I ignore this idiot or do I tell him about himself or, I've never been one to go there. I've never went to HR and complained. I have made my own threats and told people that, hey, I got somebody at the parking lot for you. That's my way of doing HR. Like, oh, okay, you're talking to me. What kind of, I'm like, no man's going to talk to me that. So I've had to be firm in that way and just let them know, hey, I'm not for this. But, for me, it was just, okay, when I'm dealing with the racist ones, like money is, the dollar is green. We all are out here to make money, and I got to make this money. And so I'm going to make the money, and then I'm going to tell you about yourself. But I want to be fantastic. I want to make the money. I want to shine. I want to be the star. Then I can tell you about yourself, and I can let everyone know who you truly are. And so that's how I've learned to just go through this journey of sexism and racism. But I got to prove a point. I just don't want to complain. It's just like, oh, because if I'm not valuable to the company and I complain about it, and it's just like, okay, whatever. But when I'm valuable, all right, and I'm making the company money, you can't deny it. Now change is going to come.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. Very well said.
Or you paint in the parking lot. Yeah.
That's the alternative.
Brooklyn in the house.
Do you feel like you got from the customers or more from the people you worked with? Like, did you ever have customers be like, oh, I don't want to work with a woman?
Oh, all the time. All of the time. That just, I mean, hell, up until last year, like all of the time. So that didn't really bother me as much, because when you're dealing with leadership, you should know better, right? You know better, you're in this position. I feel like you're a leader. I should be learning from you, and you just kind of crummy. It's just like, man, this is terrible because you know better. Customers, I used to get all the time. You know, I'd be the store manager, and I have obviously my shirt, store manager, right? And they'll come in like, like, hey, no, I want to talk to the manager. I want to talk to wow. Or sometimes I would have my advisors be like the white man, and I would tell them, hey, this is what your car need. I would go through the whole thing. They don't believe what I say. White man's over here. Hey, this is what you need. Okay. And then he upsells them. I'm just like, wow, this is like, you hear about this, with privilege and everything. And now I'm getting to see. I was like, okay, well, hell, as long as I get some of that commission, we're going to be privileged all day. Let's get this money, man. Let's do this together. We're going to tag team them. So I didn't, turn into a negative. I was like, hey, you want to be ignorant? Well, just be ignorant, and, the white guy over here is going to make us some money. Let's go get him, Todd. But, I just got over it. At the end of the day, as long as I make the sale, that's what I care about. It's like a game to me. You can say what you want, feel how you want, but if I get the sale, oh, I've won.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Now that you have your own shop, is it different? How people come in? I mean, obviously who works for you, they're not going to work for you if they have a problem working for you, right? If they have a problem with you being a woman or being a woman of color, they're not going to come work for you. So that's like probably, I'm assuming, a much better environment now. How about with customers? Do you find that you have any issues now with customers?
I don't. And part of the reason is because I'm not like on a main strip. So the only way you're going to get to my shop, you have to know where I am. You're not just going to bump into, oh, I see a shop. And so I'm very selective over my customers. By appointment only. You're just not going to pull up and that's not how I'm rolling. So my retail experience has taught me to pre-screen my customers. So no, I don't have those kind of issues. And sometimes, a woman, she'll come in and her dad will come, oh, I want to see this female, and then they'll, ask me, my background. And it's like almost reading my resume. Then, okay, well, show me the shop. Do you go to Pep Boys and ask to show the shop, sir? Like, but I'm like, hey, you know what? Money is money. Right this way, sir. And then I just introduce them to one of my male techs, and then they just feel, I'm like, okay, you deal with that. I'm gonna deal with the daughter. So I still get it, but just not as much because I'm just not accessible.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. That was a similar experience for me. Like, nobody was coming to me as a customer if they had a problem with me being a woman. Like it was like a pre-screen filter that worked really nicely until I got so big that you start getting the random walk-ins, and then it kind of started coming in again. So it's interesting. So I don't want us to go too far over, and I've already held you. You're still at work. I know you've got kids and new hubby to get home to.
Yeah.
I don't want to get in the way of that. So my final question that I want to ask you is, if you could have the opportunity to talk to the younger version of you, little baby Rob, or some other girl out there who needs to hear from you, who wants to be doing this kind of work, what do you tell her?
I would definitely say it does not matter where you come from, where you are, what you have going on. Follow your dreams. If that's what you want, go for it and give it 100%. Even though I'm a shop owner now and I've had a great career, I have humble beginnings. I was the high school dropout. I was a teenage mom, the welfare recipient. I've been through it all. And so you can just make the choice to either, live, and just have an abundant life, or you can just say, okay, well, because, I dropped out, because I did this, and that means I have to be in this bubble over here. And that's just not the case. So I would just say, hey, we all go through things in life. Get over it, right? Get up, get your hustle on, make it happen. Don't take no for an answer. Just always be authentically you. And if you can do that, then, the sky's the limit.
I love it. you're of course bringing all of this stuff up now and we're like almost done. You just like snuck that in at the end. So I gotta ask one more question. Like,
Sure.
How did you make that shift? Like, was there a moment where you're like, enough is enough, it's time for me to do something different with my life? Like, where did that shift happen, where you went from welfare recipient, dropout, to holy crap, look at you now, right?
Yeah. And I think when you get tired of just being sick and tired, because sometimes like when you grow, like if you've come from poverty, right, and you know, then you're comfortable with it. You know, it's no big deal, right? You get food stamps. Who don't get food stamps, right? That's part of the norm. And until you get out of that environment, I think really me moving to Atlanta, you know, my mom had moved me out here and she's like, yeah, get your life together, girlfriend. And I came down here, it was just like eye-opening, like, wow. You know, they call like Atlanta the Black Mecca, and there's so many, you know, Black professionals. Because if I see somebody, you know, an expensive Mercedes, you know, they was an athlete or a rapper or a dope boy. And, you know, down here it's just like, you know, they're, you know, the chief of the fire department, police. I mean, it's just mayors, you know, and there's just so many successful people. I was like, man, this is maybe, you know, something that I can do. And then for me, it was like the breaking point was I was homeless with my kids. And it was just like, I can't do this. Like, I want more. I'm going to have, I know that there has to be more to my life than just to be poor and struggling. And so I just made a point like, well, you know what? I'm just going to give everything that I have, all of me, into getting my family off of welfare, out of the hood. And so for me, it was just building a career and kind of growing and just getting more and more money and more successful. Certainly didn't think that I would have a shop or anything like that, you know, when I first started, but you know, but I just wanted to just be comfortable. You know, I don't have to be, you know, rich and millionaire. I would like to be a millionaire, you know, working towards that.
I'm pretty sure you're going to be with this attitude. You're on your way.
I just want to be, you know, just to be comfortable, and you know, just to, you know, for me, it's just like a humbling time. You know, when you don't have money to feed your kids, you know, you're in a shelter like kids. Like that's, to me, it's either going to break me or it's going to make me. And it just made me. I was like, oh, the hell with this, I'm done. And voila.
I love it, and yay for mom for bringing you out of that environment and bringing you into an environment where you could see. And that just drives home the whole point that if you can see it, you can be it. And for women in this industry, for people of color, for little boys and girls out there, like just in general, across all genders, all races, all religions, all whatever, like if you can see somebody that looks like you doing whatever it is, then suddenly it becomes possible because you've now seen it with your own eyes. And that's
right.
You are such a wonderful example of that in so many ways. Seeing it out in the world gave you the courage and the ability to go out and do it and make it and build it. And yeah, you're making that money and being fabulous, just like you set out to do. So I love it. I'm really excited to continue to watch your career and your journey and see how this shop continues to grow. I think what you are building there is phenomenal. I'm so excited for you, and I'm so thrilled that you came and hung out with me for an hour. And
are you kidding me? You're like legendary. I'm like, oh my gosh. I love you. I watch you all the time. So the pleasure is all mine. I was just like,
the pleasure is all mine. Seriously. I thank you, and I wish you all of the best. And I am going to hound you about coming out to Phoenix because we got to turn some wrenches together. Okay.
All right. Just, hey, let me know. I'll be there.
I will, indeed. All right, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in at home. I'm so grateful that you come and hang out with me these Wednesday nights. Make sure you come back next week because we do have another awesome woman to meet with next week. Definitely make sure you go check out this girl's page, Georgia Auto Solutions. It'll be linked in this post once I put it up on Instagram. So go check her out. Show her some love. If you're in her area and you need a technician's job, check her out. Or if you need car work, go check her out. So that is all we have for tonight, guys. Please be good to yourselves, be good to one another, and come back next week for more fun. Good night, everybody.